I've always been interested in shiny Pokemon ever since a young age. Something about the rarity added with the different color schemes and what we're used to just enticed me. With shiny hunting becoming easier and easier, I've been able to dip my toes into it much more easily than I would have had I done it earlier. I mean, I don't hold it against you if you do this, but I'm not going to spend months trying to get a shiny Yanma in the Great Marsh at a 1 in 8,000 odds. While I've amassed quite a bit over the years, I haven't gotten as many as my journey in Paldea has given me. As of writing the script, I have over 380 shinies. Of course, this includes all the new shinies this new generation has given us. And I've come to realize some of them kinda suck. Don't get me wrong, some of the new shinies are pretty good, but most fell off the mark for me. I genuinely had a shiny reactions video on the back burner as my first new video, as a matter of fact, but my reactions were genuinely too negative that I ended up canning it. So, you know, why not spin this into something more positive? I'm going to go through 10 of the new shiny Paldean Pokemon released as of the making of this video, and I'll give them an update. You know, what could have been. Maybe you'll agree with my opinions, you may not, that's fine. Seeing why you like shinies I don't isn't gonna hurt anyone. Just don't be mean about it, alright? Number 1, Paldean Tauros. Paldea spoiled Tauros by giving it not just one regional form, but 3. While I'm personally a bit iffy on the designs, that's not what we're here to talk about. Regular Tauros had an shiny? It's not horrible, I just don't get the appeal of a giant lime green bowl. Paldean Tauros had a chance to fix it though. Its combat form, the main form it has in Paldea, has different colors, so what colors could they pick for this new form? They just switched the colors of the mane and body. While these color swap shinies work with some Pokemon, switching to near identical colors makes the difference near indistinguishable to the untrained eye, which I find is far worse than Green Giant Tauros. But hey, there's 2 more forms, right? So they've got to have Oh. So, how would I fix this trio of bowls? My personal idea is to make the combat breed shiny purple. It doesn't make much sense at first, but when you put it side by side with the other shinies for the other forms that I made, it starts making a whole lot more sense. The shinies look like a nice color spectrum altogether. I kept the main colors somewhat dark to keep with the original aesthetic of the Pokemon. I also kept the horns somewhat dull in color, though I did tone the gray towards the respective colors as to not make it as flat of a change. These are a bit basic, but when you compare these to whatever the hell we got in the end, it's like night and day. Number 2, the Tandem Mouse line. While I made a whole video praising the line, and going into a deep rabbit hole regarding the final stage of it, something I'm not enthused about is their shiny. Tandem Mouse and Mousehold shiny changes their clothes from a soft baby blue to a soft light brown. It's nigh imperceptible when looking at them already, but considering how tiny these things are in the overworld, shiny hunting for them short of breeding or killing the entire Tandem Mouse population in the Pokemon League is a serious nuisance. So, to give these a more noticeable shiny, I went the full contrast route and yeah, I made them black. Predictable and similar to other people's shinies? Sure, but I mean, is it really a bad idea? Not at all, to be honest. Makes them look like tiny Mickey Mouses. I did try and create a bit of a distinction by giving them my striking blue eyes to make the faces focal points. Regardless, you can tell this is a major improvement over what we got. Number 3, the Charcadet line. Rounding out the main trifecta of disappointing Paldea shinies, we have this line of living fiery armors. Despite the rarity, Charcadet has a very disappointing shiny, merely just turning the ice blue. One would think that the evolutions would do better, but they're on this video for a reason. I can hear some people making the argument that the armors essentially go on Charcadet when it evolves, and that wouldn't it make much sense for them to change? But by that logic, Shiny Rhyperior, which puts on the Protector when it evolves, would look like this, and that was back in Gen 4. My fix starts off simple, with Charcadet turning monochrome. Not just because black and white are cool, but to get the Knight armor color while having a nice neutral color for the flame. For the evolutions, I went with a heroic white armor for Armarouge, and a demonic black armor for Ceruledge. I swapped the flame colors as well, giving Armarouge blue accents and Ceruledge red accents. These help accentuate the personalities of the Pokemon well, and now feel like shinies worthy of their rarity. Number 4, the Quaxly line. Weirdly enough, my personal least favorite starter of the region also gets the worst shinies of them as well. While I like the Sprigatito line's shinies, and the Fuecoco lines, while disappointing, are passable, the Quaxly lines is just disappointing. Quaxly and Quaquaval just look washed out and desaturated, while Quaxwell just switches the colors of the blues around in a mildly unappealing way. You could make the argument that Quaquaval is supposed to be a lavender, but it personally does not come across that way to me. So I took a rather predictable, yet wild approach to the line. Starting with Quaxly, I made the light blue more of a teal, saturated the beak to an orange, and made the eyes purple. It's somewhat subtle, but it's still more noticeable compared to the original's shiny. You can start to see where it's going with Quaxwell, with it gaining new red accents, and Quaquaval gets fully funky with the crazy teal and purple color scheme. Some might call it eye-searing, but I think it's fitting for this flashy and showy duck. Number 5, the Knackley line. The Knackley line is one of my favorites in this entire generation, especially from the moment it was accidentally leaked by one of the trailers. Using a Garganacl on my team was a lot of fun, and I'm glad it's even usable and competitive. But what truly makes me salty about them is their disappointing shinies. Not much changes other than the salt becoming a caramel color. Some may like it, but I find it's heavily disappointing, especially when there were so many more possibilities on the table. The fixes I went for this time were to first change the color of the dirt on their bodies to a grayish lime color. I also turned the salt pink, my inspiration being derived from Himalayan salt, giving it a nice real-world basis. I topped it off by giving the eyes a subtle shift to red, allowing them to complement the pink. While not the best, I still find it's much cooler than what we got, and these shinies are to be taken with more than a grain of salt. Number 6, Scovillain. To be clear, this is only for Scovillain, not Capsicid. Capsicid actually has a pretty nice shiny, looking more dried out, with a nice accent color with its dark turquoise on the neck. But they dropped the ball on Scovillain so badly. The colors on the neck and lower body got switched, losing that dried look, and seriously? They didn't change the heads? That's the one defining feature of the Pokemon, and they didn't even change that for the shiny. On my version of the shiny, I ended up doing 2 fixes. First, the body and neck colors are swapped, keeping that desert plant look I liked on Capsicid. Lastly, and more importantly, I actually changed the colors of the peppers. I was thinking on what to change them into, but ultimately I went with yellow and purple. Not only do they still contrast, like the red and green heads of the original, but they're actually yellow and purple bell peppers. I like shinies with real-world bases. Just look at the Sandygast line. In the end, I feel like these basic changes will help Scovillain be one spicy-looking shiny. Number 7, the Flittle line. These exotic birds have, ironically, some of the plainer and boring looking shinies in the game. Flittle's ruffles turn brown and green instead of orange and pink, and Espathra isn't much better, with only its orange parts turning brown. For just how damn common Flittle are, both outbreak-wise and in general, I'd expect the reward to be a little more worth it than minor changes and my eyes hurting from straining to look at each individual Flittle for changes. And like I said with Scovillain, not changing the defining color of the Pokemon shiny is a very heavy misplay. For my versions of the shiny, I went fully into both the psychedelic vibe and the regal vibe that these two give off. For shiny Flittle, I went with pink for the main color, going down into a nice blue gradient for the skirt. The accents become a nice pale brown, and the white ruffle pigtails turn into a hot pink. When Flittle becomes Espathra, everything comes together, with the beautiful looking pinks becoming the main point, and the browns and blue helping to break it up. I also gave Espathra haunting red eyes, which feels like it works in context of just how bizarre it is design-wise. I could have made it black and white with the same red eyes, but I already made 2 black and white shinies. I feel like that'd be overkill. Regardless, I hope these look better to you than these. Number 8, the Tinkatink line. The absolute darling of the fandom at the moment, it seems that Tinkaton and its family can do no wrong. At least until you get into the shiny. Actually, it's wrong calling it a shiny, because the Pokemon themselves don't even change. Only their hammers do, getting rustier. It was funny when Kamala did it, but seeing it a second time, it feels like the joke's already worn out its welcome. It feels especially insulting to me, considering just how many people love this Pokemon and would want to shiny hunt it, only to just see this minor change. So, to fix it, I started off with changing the actual Pokemon for one. I made them blue because we've had blue to pink shinies in the past, so seems fitting enough. Plus, it makes them look like Smurfs, also fitting, seeing their design. The hammers are now more of a silvery bronze, and I have some bases behind this as well. Before it was cleared up, people theorized that shiny Tinkaton's hammer was made out of shiny Corviknight, until people then realized, hey, these two things actually have completely different colors. So as a bit of a callback to the misinformation, I made the hammers actually shiny Corviknight colored. I guess, don't put the shiny Tinkaton and the shiny Corviknight in the same room together, otherwise, you'll find a missing bird and a bigger hammer. Number 9, the Gimmighoul line. You thought I forgot about these guys, didn't you? I can slightly forgive Gimmighoul shiny. It turns white, which, while not the most interesting change, is definitely noticeable enough. But Gholdengo genuinely has one of the worst shinies I've ever seen. You think I'm kidding with putting up a picture of the regular Gholdengo. I'm not. This is actually how it looks. The only difference is that the dark orange lines become silver, which is genuinely mind-numbingly stupid. These two are shiny locked, but being shiny locked does not mean that you should have a lack of effort when making their shinies anyway. Pokemon like Lunala and Eternatus have good shinies, even though both were shiny locked. While I could have gone for just fixing Gholdengo, I also fixed Gimmighoul as a bit of a formality. I kept the white of the original shiny, but I changed its coins into a silver color. I also changed the trim of the chest form into a silver, its silver coin into a nice gold, and the chest itself turns into a royal violet. But how does this affect Gholdengo? Well, like many people have, I made it a silver color, but I give it a bit of a green tinge as well, to reference how coins can gather green patina over time. The belt that holds his old chest is also changed to how the new shiny Gimmighoul's chest looks, giving it a bit more change than just its main body. Even though you can't currently get these two, I feel like these new shinies for both, if they were accessible, would be worth their weight in gold. Silver. Number 10, Chien Pao. The Treasures of Ruin have become memorable legendaries within the last months, and for good reason. Their lore is intriguing, and their designs are very interesting. I like 3 of the 4 shinies, but unfortunately, Chien Pao lets its fellow grudge-holding artifacts down. The snow turns into a brown, which I'd assume was meant to make it look like it's made of dirt instead, but the unchanged crystals make it look more like a living turd. Or a melted fudgesicle, or like the poop rat from Food Fight.
You despise me, don't you?
Either way, it's not a good look. So for my fix, I turned Chien Pao into a nice blue, making it look like it's formed itself from colder snow. The crystals have also changed to a complementary purple color. I left the swords untouched, seeing how the other Treasures of Ruin didn't change the colors of the items they were made from when they turned shiny. Nevertheless, they still fit with a new shiny. And ultimately, if this was what we got, I'd be more than willing to hunt for it other than obligation. You know, if it wasn't also shiny locked. So there's the 10 Paldean Pokemon families I'd fix the shinies for. Much of this is subjective, and feel free to make your own opinion. You may like the shinies I put in this video, and that's fine. I'm ultimately just a guy who likes hunting shinies who just wanted to try new color schemes for shinies he didn't like. I'm not forcing you to like these or not. Regardless, I hope this video was at least enjoyable for everyone who watched, and until then, I hope to see you next time.